British Open win in 2003. It was one on handicap, of course, and those friends and family, we have a bit of a joke because we say that those beating people with no arms and no legs, it's quite an easy feat. But I could say right now the guys that were in the field were some exceptional guys, and if I can relay one guy, Bob McDermott, who was an amputee. He was a dual amputee, and that he lost his arm and his leg in the Gulf War. And quite an amazing story in that Bob had been working on some equipment, and it blew up in his face. And in that particular accident, he unfortunately lost his right arm. And on the way to getting that arm, we could say, sewed back on, the relative ambulance driving him to the hospital actually had a blowout. The ambulance rolled. Both paramedics died, and he lost his leg. And there's guys like that you meet at events like this that truly are the inspiration. Probably not this thing right here. But yeah, lots of interesting stories. Also played with another guy who was a thalidomide golfer, and that he had two arms coming out of the top of his shoulders, and those arms formed, I suppose, his leverage point for his golf club, in that he used to hold his golf club right up against his chin, and he'd use his trunk as rotation to hit the golf ball. And an amazing guy, and I'll never forget what he said to me. I was talking about the way he looked with his little hands at the top, and he made mention to me that he doesn't really worry about what people think of him, because 99% of the time people are too busy thinking about themselves. So he sort of he's always kept that in the back of his mind, not to worry about what people think, because they truly don't look at him. I hit my ball in the bushes, and ironically heard this voice come from the crowd saying that my ball had gone in a little bit further into the bushes, and lo and behold, it was Tiger Woods. And the guy came up to me, and I had a bit of a chat to him over a couple of holes, and one of the things that he told me was, it was very interesting. I was sort of trying to get a few tips off him, and he said that most golfers, when they go to strike a ball, they actually line up that way, and they visualise a line that way, so they hit the ball in the direction of where, obviously where they envisage the line to be. Ironically, Tiger does something very, very different, and that he visualises the line that way. And I asked him why, and it was interesting because it had nothing to do with lining up, but what it had to do with was a lot of the stuff that he exercised in his mind, and the words that came from him was that he visualises a line that way, and what that meant for him was that the moment he struck the ball and stepped over that line, he forgot about his last shot. And I always remembered that, in that what he claims that he deems his success is that not so much the amount of golf balls that he hits, because I've heard he'll hit up to 5,000 or 6,000 golf balls a week before he entails playing a tournament, but what he does do is, like no other golfer, is exercises his mind by understanding that the moment he steps over that line, he forgets about his last shot, so he doesn't carry any of his bad shots around the golf course, hence being the world #1 golfer. In looking at how Tiger approaches the ball after he visualises a shot, what he'll do, he'll stand up to the plate, you'll see him, he'll close his eyes, he knows exactly where he wants to go to, and what he then does is, from the time he opens his eyes and looks at the ball, the last thing he remembers is where his visualisation took him and where he hit his golf ball. So he'll close his eyes, visualise it, then look at his golf ball, strike the ball, and then the next thing that he will do is step over that line and forget about his last shot.